On Coyote News tonight, Election Day is over. We'll tell you what it all means.
A new downtown business brings a sports bar environment to Vermilion, and SDSU isn't allotting USD fans many tickets for next week's final football game.
The Coyote volleyball team had two big conference wins this weekend, including SDSU. So Yote reporter Mandy Ewald is taking a look at the USD-SDSU rivalry. That's coming up. But first, news headlines with Courtney Sterrett.
In the races that concern South Dakotans, the majority of incumbents came away with wins in last night's election. President Barack Obama defeated Governor Mitt Romney, earning 4 more years as Commander-in-Chief. In South Dakota's U.S. House race, Kristi Noem will also serve 2 more years for the state. Noem defeated her Democratic challenger, Matt Varilek, winning almost 58% of the votes. South Dakotans defeated a 1% increased sales tax for Medicaid and K-12 education. Stocks are sharply lower today following Election Day. In this afternoon's trading, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 250 points, or 1.9%. The benchmark Dow remains below the significant 13,000, last seen on August 3rd. And Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin is the first openly gay person to be elected to the U.S. Senate. Previously, she was a U.S. House Democrat for Wisconsin's 2nd District. Baldwin says she ran to make a difference, and that is a big day for gay women in America. And those are your headlines.
Thanks, Courtney. Local authorities are still looking for a man suspected of stealing a car out of Rapid City. Michael Altford is the suspected driver of a stolen car that was crashed into a storage unit on the 800 block of East Cherry Street last Thursday morning. The driver eluded Vermilion Police after the crash and hasn't been seen since. If you see Alford, contact Vermilion Police Department immediately. In an effort to prevent similar incidents, the Vermilion Police Department reminds residents to always lock doors and remove keys from vehicles.
USD has had fewer than 20 presidents guiding it since the university doors opened 150 years ago. The current president, Jim Abbott, has seen quite a few changes in his tenure, not only to buildings, but in academics and athletics as well. Coyote News' Nathan Poole brings us a report on the man who's leading the charge for change.
James Abbott became the 17th president of the University of South Dakota in 1997 and has received recognition for his improvements on campus.
But President Abbott doesn't want students to applaud his success. He wants them to see it.
Since Abbott's presidency, he has helped create more buildings like the Munster University Center, the Beacom School of Business, and also proposed new renovations to the Dakota Dome. President Abbott wanted to accomplish many goals, but the one that needed the most help was pride.
One of the things I really wanted to accomplish was to create a sense of pride in our campus, and I think we have accomplished that.
Students' enrollment has been increasing for the past 3 years, but senior Colin Smith believes that the freshmen are of higher importance than the upperclassmen.
I feel like there's not so many opportunities for senior level students, like your juniors, your seniors, your upperclassmen. Now, like your freshmen, sophomores, those new coming people, they have a ton of opportunities, hey, come do this, come do that, come do this. But I feel like a lot of the upperclassmen kind of fall into the shadow.
And President Abbott's response to tuition costs?
It's always too high.
For Coyote News, I'm Nathan Poole.
There might not be any snow yet, but university officials are asking students to be cautious of conditions, especially while driving. On campus, drivers can be stopped for careless driving, reckless driving, exhibition driving, and drunk driving. University Police Lieutenant Dallas Schnack says at least one accident happens in a university parking lot each month. He says students need to be aware of their surroundings and to scrape their windows completely in the winter to increase visibility. The speed limit in parking lots is 10 miles per hour. Lieutenant Schnack cautions students to watch speeds in parking lots when conditions become slippery.
Veterans Day is a day set aside each year to honor those who serve in the military. Coyote News' Dan Bell has been involved with ROTC for years, and he caught up with a student veteran to find out his views on the holiday.
And into the classrooms. To that, we honor those who have put their lives on the line to give us all that we have.
Members of our armed forces are returning to the campus of USD. One recent returner is Specialist Jesse Kimball from his tour in Afghanistan. And after his time, he has a new look on Veterans Day.
I think that America needs to kind of get back down to its roots as far as Veterans Day, and we do a pretty good job, but Veterans Day should be, in my opinion, a little more sacred than it is.
Having earned the title of a veteran, Kimball returns to life as normal with a new appreciation for those who have served before him.
I have to say I have a lot more respect for the men who went through before me, because I know that the difficulties I had over there were amplified back in the day with, the conditions and lack of technology.
Challenges or not, Kimball is just glad to be home. For Coyote News, I'm Dan Bell.
USD is honoring veterans at the football game on Saturday.
On this week's Coyote blog, Chris Jessen is worried about Darth Vader joining the Mickey Mouse Club.
A week ago, in a state far, far away, George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to the Walt Disney Company. Turmoil arose around the galaxy after Disney announced they would be creating a new Star Wars trilogy. Nerds everywhere let out a collective groan. I've never been ashamed to admit that I'm a nerd. I love Star Wars. So when I heard the announcement, I threw myself on the floor and did my best Darth Vader, no! After the Death Star-sized disappointment that was the prequel trilogy, it seems almost sacrilegious to try again. It shouldn't be surprising, though, with the current state of our entertainment industry. If it's not a reboot, it's a sequel. Original ideas are about as likely as Jabba going on a diet. But that's a whole separate issue. But before my fellow nerds storm the Sleeping Beauty castle with lightsabers and blasters in hand, maybe this is Star Wars' new hope. With fresh blood, the right cast, and careful writing, maybe this new trilogy can be everything the prequels could have been. While Disney doesn't seem to be the right team to make up for the mistake that was Jar Jar Binks, they've done an amazing job with the Marvel films. I was just about as apprehensive about Mickey's takeover of Marvel. So maybe all of my fears about a Disney Star Wars are unfounded. Our only hope is that Disney takes this seriously and tries to put out a really good film with a solid storyline and powerful acting, instead of just a blockbuster filled with heartthrobs. In the end, no matter whether the films are terrible or not, we nerds will still pay to see them. We love griping about disappointing movies about as much as we love praising the great ones. So, all I have to say is, I hope the force is with Disney and this isn't just a trap. For Coyote Blog, I'm Chris Jessen.
Thanks, Chris. A new business has opened downtown and it's got a lot of students talking. Coyote News' Andrew Ferriel has the report.
I thought it was a nice experience. Kind of reminded me of a Buffalo Wild Wings kind of atmosphere. It's open, they got a lot of long tables. I think the big thing is they got a lot of screens. I think people are going to like that. It'd be a good place to go watch sports.
As owner Chad Grunwald says, a new business does more than just make money for itself, but it also improves the community as a whole.
It's just another added feature to the downtown area. We have a lot of great facilities already downtown. This is just another contribution to help drive and get people to come down. I mean, we have a beautiful downtown area. It's just another added benefit that, it's just going to help the community all around. The busier your downtown area is, the better the whole town as a whole is. So,
I feel like it has a good shot. It's got a great location downtown. Of course, it's only about 100 yards from my front door, so that helps.
So what do some students like about the new business?
The peanuts, the cool bar counter, the open atmosphere.
It's such a beautiful building. It's sad just to see it sit there, and I was happy to take on the project and redo it and bring it just up to date.
For Coyote News, I'm Andrew Farrell.
Thanks, Andrew. USD's student newspaper is nearing double digits for the number of times it's won a prestigious award. The Volant won its 7th Pacemaker Award, which is considered the Pulitzer Prize of college journalism. The student-run paper also won the award last year. The Volant has been nominated as a finalist 17 times since 1990 and has been a finalist for the past 5 years. This is the first time the Volant has won 2 consecutive Pacemakers.
USD's student newspaper just won another national award, but some students on campus had a problem with last week's issue. The Volant reported hundreds of its papers stolen last Wednesday from buildings on campus. Although the paper is free, it's still considered a crime to steal multiple issues because the Volant has paid advertisers that could have lost revenue. Around the time of the theft, Kappa Alpha Theta member Jessica Peterson tweeted how negatively her sorority views the Volant. Pi Delta Theta member and SGA Vice President DJ Smith also tweeted this in a Twitter exchange regarding the Volant thefts. The papers were returned Thursday morning, so no charges were filed. University police caught all thieves on camera.
The election has come and gone, but how will the results affect students? Angelica Brackens joins us live in the muck with college Democrat Rochelle Norberg to talk about the victories and losses in her respective party.
Thanks, Kelly, and thanks, Rochelle, for joining us. How did you feel when Barack Obama was reelected to a second term as President of the United States?
I was really excited. I know a lot of people don't think that he's done as much as he promised when he was first elected in 2008. But we're really optimistic that with a second term, he's going to be able to get a lot more of his agenda issues accomplished, and just really excited to see what happens in the next 4 years.
And with a Democratic president, how do you think the legislative side of things is going to go with a Republican House majority?
I think it'll be a little different this time around. The majority still holds as we had the last 2 years, but I think with a second term for President Obama, the House is going to realize that they aren't going to be able to stalemate as much as they have in the past, especially the last 2 years. They're going to have to put good legislation forward, and they're going to have to push bipartisan bills and get some policies passed.
And Republican Representative Kristi Noem defeated Matt Verelich by 5,000 votes and was reelected into office. How do you feel about that?
I think that both candidates had a great campaign. Congratulations to Kristi and her victory last night. I was kind of disappointed that the margin was so big, but I really think that with her reelection that a benefit coming from Matt challenging her will be the accountability that she'll have to hold to. People are going to be watching where she goes, if she's going to committee meetings, if she's actually doing what she says she is doing. So I think it'll be good for South Dakota.
And 2 of the 7 ballot issues passed, and Betty Smith, an associate professor of the political science department, says that ballot issues very rarely get passed, and that's because people don't know about these issues. What do you suggest for voters for the next election?
I think one of the first things they have to do is they have to go to their legislators in the process. There were 2 referred laws on the ballot for South Dakota, and both of those referred laws failed. I think the first thing that people need to do is go to their legislators, pay attention to what's happening while it's in session, and form an opinion based on what their legislators are saying, what's going on in Pierre. And if a law is referred or initiated measure comes on, people need to start paying attention more than the 3 weeks that advertising is coming out. They need to follow, and they need to be more aware of what's going on in South Dakota.
All right, and thanks to Rochelle for joining us. Live from the muck, I'm Angelica Brackens.
Thanks, Angelica. USD's rivalry with SDSU is renewed next Saturday in Brookings, but most USD fans won't have the chance to watch the game from the stands. Ticket sales coordinator Brad Simon says the Missouri Valley Football Conference only requires SDSU to allocate 200 tickets to USD.
And those generally go towards the players, for their parents, their family, the coaches, same thing with their family, and then any administration that go, or sometimes some donors as well.
SDSU did provide USD with an additional 50 tickets, but those tickets were also off limits to students and general fans. Tickets offered through SDSU's ticket office sold out in August. Simon says the Jacks will have the same ticket issues next year at the Dakota Dome when USD has first grab at tickets.
Tickets will be on sale to our fans, our season ticket holders, our donors first, and then, if those do not sell out, which I almost guarantee they will, whatever's left will go on sale to the general public at a later date.
Kickoff is at 2 p.m. next week, and the game will be televised by the Midcoast Sports Network.
The USD volleyball team hosted SDSU in the Den over the weekend and soundly beat them. On this week's Yote Report, Mandy Ewald says the rivalry fans have a history.
As USD has officially entered into the Division I Conference, the most anticipated game of the year has yet to come. On this week's Yote Report, we'll see what current students and alumni have to say about the Coyotes' rivalry with the SDSU Jackrabbits. Last year, both women's and men's basketball teams played SDSU. Student Nick Falk hopes the rivalry he heard about from his parents continues.
Well, both my parents went to USD, so they come down for games sometimes, so they have that alumni base and their friends, and they used to tell me stories about how they'd be dead jackrabbits thrown out on the court when they would play SDSU, so it'd be pretty neat if we could get that kind of rivalry going again.
Former USD professor and alumni Nancy McCarran began following Coyote athletics at the young age of 3. McCarran's father was the USD athletic director and basketball coach.
There really was a pretty intense rivalry, mostly because all of those players in those years were from South Dakota. So for them, it was an intense rivalry. They did not want to lose to SDSU.
The Coyote football team will face the Jackrabbits for the first time since 2003 on November 17th. For the Yote Report, I'm Mandy Ewald.
The USD football team leads the overall rivalry by 2 games so far.
On Coyote Sports, the university has a new associate athletic director. The football team comes up short, again, and Taylor Moore. But first, sports headlines. Courtney?
Thanks, Abby. Sports Center and ESPN Sports Science have teamed up to determine the greatest athlete of all time. They're using unique metrics that factor power, speed, and other factors. Categories vary from basketball to the Olympics and endurance. Fans are encouraged to vote in all categories on ESPN's website. The Philadelphia Eagles, once known for big day defense, tight coverage, and being a winning team, have all but disappeared. After 14 mostly successful seasons, head coach Andy Reid is in the hot seat after not being able to deliver a Lombardi trophy. The Eagles are 3-5 on the season. Even if they reach a .500 record, commentators say they likely won't be good enough to win the Super Bowl. And those are your sports headlines.
Thanks, Courtney. The USD Foundation has named John Schemmel as new Associate Athletic Director for Development. Schemmel will play a pivotal role in securing contributions for the 3 major athletic building projects. He says the vision and excitement President Jim Abbott demonstrates for USD and Division I athletics is second to none. And the football team came up short against Youngstown State, losing 13-10 Saturday. Quarterback Josh Vandermotten led South Dakota with 68 yards rushing and 85 yards passing against the Missouri Valley's worst pass defense. Linebacker Tyler Starr earned a career high with 18 tackles. The Coyotes are now 1-8. The in-state rivalry between USD and SDSU Jackrabbits continued on Friday. The 5-8 Coyotes took the court by storm, winning 3 sets to nothing against the 8-5 Jackrabbits. The Coyotes ran up the scoreboard right away, winning the first set 25-14. The momentum carried into the second set, with the Coyotes winning 25-18. A 25-15 score capped off the night. Sophomore Kendall Crittenbrink had 16 kills and 41 total attempts. Freshman Sydney Dimke had 9 kills and 17 total attempts. And junior Tori Kroll finished the night with 41
I thought we all came out and proved them that we're a force to be reckoned with, and I just think that we definitely stepped it up. Like, we usually come out very slow, but we came out like the first 5 points we were on.
Head coach Matt Hauk says he's impressed by the team's overall performance.
I think our players came out and established an aggressive tone right away, and they didn't let down. At no point in that match did we stop being aggressive, and that's something we've been preaching a lot of lately, and they're buying into it.
The Coyotes travel to the University of Nebraska-Omaha on Saturday. This weekend, South Dakota high schools will fill Vermillion for the state football tournament. Cassie Bartlett joins us live in the muck with Steve Howe to talk about how this will affect the community.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Steve, for joining us today. Why are the football championships hosted here in Vermillion?
Well, Vermillion's really fortunate in that the university built the Dakota Dome back about, 30 years now, so that just provided the perfect venue for the state championships.
Vermillion is kind of in the eastern corner of South Dakota and isn't very big, so how does it compete with Sioux Falls and Rapid that, probably would have liked to host the big high school championships?
Well, I think they would still like to host it, so we always want to make sure that we're providing a great experience for people when they come to the community, to make sure that they keep coming back year over year. You know, I think that, again, the ability to host all the events indoors at the Dome really takes a lot of the questions out of the games. So I think the South Dakota Athletic Association really likes to, you know, keep it in that controlled environment.
Has the city of Vermilion done anything to prepare for this coming weekend with all the athletic events going on?
Yeah, we put together, there's a great team of people that every year they get together and they host all the teams. So we, you know, they work with all the businesses in the community, the Chamber of Commerce, the city, to provide that great experience for the teams. They're coming, a lot of them are coming from, you know, a long way away, have never been here before, so it's great to have that host family that they can work with.
Now, the championships for each of the classes last over a 3-day period. So how much revenue is usually brought in over those 3 days?
Well, the revenue, it varies from year to year, but overall it's a very significant amount of revenue. But it depends on when, you know, basically it depends on where the teams are coming from. And we get a lot more revenue, obviously, from a West River teams, because they tend to stay overnight in the hotels and they eat more meals. When we have 2 East River teams, they tend to come and go on the same day. But overall, our restaurants see a lot of activity, our gas stations see a lot of activity, and the hotels definitely see a lot of overnight stays, mainly from like the referees, the athletic association, and all the people that are there to make sure the event goes smoothly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. High school championship football games start tomorrow morning at the Dakota Dome at about 11 o'clock. For Coyote News Live, I'm Cassie Bartlett.
Thanks, Cassie.
Although one USD fraternity ended its latest formal a bit abruptly 2 weeks ago, other Greek houses are just now preparing for their formal events.
On this week's commentary, Chrissy Sorensen wants to find out what Greek formals are all about, or at least she's trying to.
My name's Chrissy, and I'm a GDI, which is code for God damn, I can't get a date to save my pathetic Greekless life. So it's time to put myself out there and get asked to a Greek formal. The chances of me getting a date to the Greek formal are smaller than the coyote statue. Take me to formal!
$2
And 7 cents.
I think I'm worth a little bit more than that, but if you want, you can definitely go back to my place and talk about it some more.
Everyone in Pike said no. The guys in Delt didn't even accept my bribe.
You could join a sorority.
I'm not that desperate. Everyone at SAE, they have a restraining order against me.
Chrissy still hasn't found a date to a formal. She says you can find her on Facebook or in the muck. After months of building tensions, the presidential election is finally over.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students what influenced their vote.
The debate influenced my vote because Obama won.
The presidential campaigns and the debates. The commercials.
My prior political views.
Watching the debate influenced my votes the most. social issues,
Watching the presidential debate.
the immigration, women's issues, the LGBTIQ community.
I would probably have to say the commercials.
Nothing really influenced my vote.
Probably the debate.
Probably the debate.
That's a great question, and an important one.
The ads influenced me because I thought they were entertaining.
The most influential one would probably be the commercials or the debate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't vote.
Probably my parents' beliefs. I believe what they believe.
The debate. The debates, especially issues about gun control.
I'd have to say the Daily Show and the Colbert Report.
I didn't really notice anything, actually.
I'd probably have to say none of it.
Memes on the internet.
Possibly the debates and the information on the candidates' websites.
A new issue of the Volant Hit News stands today. Pick up your issue to read about the national and South Dakotan election results. Those stories and more can be found on VolantOnline.com. You can also check out the Coyote News link on the page.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to check us on Facebook and Twitter. Next week, we'll have the results of the football game against UNI and a look ahead to the game with State. In the meantime, have a great night and a good weekend. We'll see you next time.